Hello and welcome to Songs for the Struggling Artist, the blogcast. This is episode 324. My name is Emily Rainbow Davis. Thank you for listening to the blogcast. So, today's blog is inspired by a song on TikTok. What is this? What world do I live in now? You'll hear all about it, and then of course that's the song I have to do. This may be my first cover of a Gen Z song. I think that might not be true, but it might be. It might be true. So that's kind of fun. Shout out to Gen Z. Hello, Gen Z. According to my audience statistics, there are very few of you who listen to this podcast, but if you are here, hello. I'm very glad to have you. So why don't I read it to you? It is called I Also Know Victoria's Secret. There's a song by a young woman that has emerged via TikTok that is extremely popular called Victoria's Secret. In it, she goes by Jax, reveals that the secret of Victoria is that she was made up by a dude. It's a fun pop tune about body empowerment with Victoria's Secret at the center. It's a super catchy song, and I recommend the video on her TikTok, which is a flash mob video in front of a Victoria's Secret. I've had the song in my head pretty much since I heard it. And every time it comes around again, I think, we should have stopped this a long time ago. What terrible power this dumb store has had on the psyches of girls. I don't think I realized before because Victoria's Secret is just another store to me. I remember when it showed up at the mall, we mostly made fun of it. We bought our bras and underwear at places like Kmart and department stores. Victoria's Secret was flimsy and fit badly and had cheesy angel marketing, like Playboy, but with wings instead of bunny ears. I maybe went there once. We thought it was mostly men who went in there to buy cheesy lingerie for their wives and girlfriends. And I feel like there was some evidence that that was true in those early days. I think it may have even been the impetus of the founding of the store. But something happened as time went by. I really don't know what it was that happened because I was not paying attention. Victoria's Secret somehow turned from being a cheesy underwear store at the mall to a foundational place for girls. If I'm reading the song right, children are growing up trying to model themselves on the marketing of Victoria's Secret. It's become a sort of twisted guide star for girls looking toward womanhood. And I thought it was just a dumb store. I have always known Victoria's Secret was made up by a dude. It is not news to me, but it seems to be powerful news to the young girls of the moment. But I get it, I suppose. We don't like to think about the objectification and sexualization that girls are drawn to, interested in, and exploited by. We like to think of girls as innocent creatures who have no interest in sex or its trappings, who will remain untouched by the culture until they are old enough. But it's not true. If it's not the culture teaching them how to pose and present themselves, it's their own interest and curiosity that will lead them to places like Victoria's Secret long before we'd like for them to notice such things. I didn't grow up with the specter of Victoria's Secret's unattainable ideals, but when I was little, I found some copies of Playboy magazine and spent some quiet mornings examining them, trying to understand the sexy grown-up world. I was discovered, so my exposure was pretty limited, but I did see enough to build a belief system that this is what being a grown-up sexy woman should be. Luckily, I didn't buy into it too much, but things like Playboy at least had the advantage of being somewhat hidden. It wasn't at the mall, and it wasn't a part of my everyday exposure. There has been an extreme objectification movement in the culture since around about the time Victoria's Secret first opened in the mall. It feels like it gets worse and worse every year. What with the Instagram filters and the TikTok beauty trends, and now everyone has to look camera ready all the time. Things like nudie magazines seem quite quaint in comparison. All this to say, I'm sorry I didn't catch what damage Victoria's Secret was doing when it first came out. I would have gone to the mall and held our Take Back the Night rallies there instead. We could have made a lot of noise, twirled sports bras around our heads or something. Instead, it's this next generation, after decades of Victoria's Secret marinating in the culture, that finally begins to shift things. Apparently, the Victoria's Secret corporate office has reached out to Jax to have her help them make the brand more inclusive. Jax has told them where they can stick it, and asked her fans if they have something to say to the corporate office, since they're listening. Girls and young women are speaking their truth to power. That seems like progress, somehow. Pointless to talk to those powers now, perhaps, now that so much damage has been done, but still, maybe the needle is moving. I thought Victoria's Secret was just a crappy store where I couldn't get a bra that fits. I send away to Poland for my bras, by the way. That's how bad the American lingerie system is. But I think we just never really know what is taking up so much space in the brains of the generations that follow us. I'm sorry, Gen Z. I wish I'd known where this was going. I'd have fought harder for you earlier. By the way, speaking of inspiring Gen Z, the girls in Iran, wow is all I can say. I wrote this before that kicked off. And I don't know that there would be a place in it aside from girls fighting against oppression and speaking truth to power is really happening all over the world and not just in response to Victoria's Secret. It's wild. And there was a part of this that I didn't end up putting in, which was about how intentional Jax is about speaking to like girls, like young girls. And apparently she wrote this for a girl she was babysitting for, who was a kid, you know. And she has like guests on her TikTok who are children and who this song speaks to, which like I wish it didn't. I wish it meant nothing to them, but apparently it really does. And I don't know. That gives me some complicated feelings. But I'm glad we have Jax, and I'm glad she's singing to the youth of America and beyond. I think the world, not the whole world, but a lot of people in the world. I think the song has gone to like #1 somewhere. I saw maybe the Billboard charts. It's crazy. It's doing amazing. Which is, wild. I think she just recorded it at her house, is my guess. I don't know that, but that's what it seems like anyway. I don't know what the real story is. So, kudos to Jax, and I'm going to sing her song here in a minute, and I hope she doesn't mind. And meanwhile, thank you so much for listening, and I would like to thank you for your support. And if you'd like to support the show further with your dollars, perhaps, you can do that on patreon.com/Emily R. Davis. There's also Ko-fi and PayPal. All those links are in the show notes. And that, my friends, is that. And here, on ukulele, I give to you Jax's song, Victoria's Secret. Somebody would have told me when I was younger, all bodies aren't the same. Photoshop itty-bitty models on magazine covers told me I was overweight. I stopped eating, what a bummer. Can't have carbs in a hot girl summer. If I could go back and tell myself making money off of girls like me, cashing in on body issues, selling skin and bones with big boobs. I know Victoria's Secret. She was made up by a dude. Victoria was made up by a dude. Victoria was made up by a dude. I wish somebody would have told me that thighs of thunder were just normal human thighs. The fucking pressure I was under to lose my appetite and fight the cellulite with Hunger Games like every night. If I could go back and tell myself when I was younger, I'd say, hey dummy, I know Victoria's Secret, and girl, you wouldn't believe she's an old man who lives in Ohio, making money off of girls like me, cashing in on body issues, selling skin and bones with big boobs. I know Victoria's Secret. She was made up by a dude. Victoria was made up by a dude. Victoria was made up by a. I know Victoria's Secret. And girl, you wouldn't believe she's an old man who lives in Ohio, making money off of girls like me, cashing in on body issues, selling skin and bones with big boobs. I know Victoria's Secret. She was never meant